The truth may set you free, but Tots set this guy free. Here's a look at the brand new Trick or Treat Studios. This Saw 1/6 scale Billy figure with tricycle. Jigsaw's main accomplice and icon of the film franchise comes to your shelf with the Trick or Treat Studios officially licensed Saw Billy the Puppet 1/6 scale figure. This amazing figure is approximately 7 inches tall, features real hair, includes his tricycle, and comes packaged in a collector's window box with magnetic flap. Billy's feet clip onto the pedals for ease of display. I'm sure you're all wondering why you're here. That's, of course, to check out the new Trick or Treat Studios Saw Billy the Puppet with tricycle, which the figure is going to start to ship on May 1st, 2025. We're getting an early chance to look at this figure thanks to the folks over at Tots. He's going to be selling for $79.99 on the site, or you can also go 4 interest-free installments of $20 a month. Let's take, though, the tape measure and see how tall the figure stands. Now, standing, though, may be a bit of an issue because actually the figure is not intended to stand. He's always meant to be displayed sitting on top of his trike. Based at least, though, on that, Billy's going to stand at about 7¼ inches in height, or roughly about 18½ centimeters tall. Let's see. What can I bring in for comparisons? Well, here's what he looks like, first of all, with a toddler. That would be the Trick or Treat Sam. And being, of course, he's the wheeled accomplice to John Kramer, who's an adult-sized character. Here's what he looks like with the Nick Castle Michael Myers from the 1978 Halloween. Now, even though he's meant to be displayed on top of his trike, does not mean, though, that Billy isn't removable. The only thing that's really keeping him on top of his wheels are the pegs on top of the pedals that plug into the holes on the bottoms of his soles. His hands then fit around the handles of the tricycle. There is no actual peg on the back of the seat, and I'm actually glad they chose not to go that route. But what's interesting, though, is on the bottom of the seat, it actually looks like there may have been an intended magnet. Billy, though, with him on top of his tricycle, let's just get him back with his hands fit around the handles here. I'll remove him in a second. I certainly did want to show you guys first what he looks like on top of his bike. The bike, though, because it's a tricycle, has 2 smaller wheels on the back. They roll quite freely on their own. You could, with the way they designed the character, actually be able to rotate the wheel. But I find, though, because everything's plugged the way that it is, it's a lot easier, though, kind of grab the front wheel and rotate it back and forth that way. Because they've allotted for some tolerances here in the ankles, when you rotate the front of the wheel, Billy actually starts to pedal his bike. I think that's really clever the way they've designed that. Because the way they've designed it like that, though, if you try to put him down on a flat surface and do it this way, there doesn't seem to be enough traction with the width of that wheel where it'd be able to rotate it on its own. But if you do it on your own with your hands, you can see he pedals. And I think that's a really neat way that they've designed that. Now, actually, the design of the actual tricycle, though, if you're looking at it, has a nice dark crimson color to it, very accurate to the movie. The wheels themselves, while not having rubber wheels, do feel like they have a little more of a softer plastic feel to them. The front of the spokes, of course, colored in the same plastic red. You got the coloring of the pedals with some nice silver added in there as well. I know we're kind of looking at only really the tricycle right now. And he also does have his little bell on the top. Nice little touches there. To remove Billy, though, again, all we're going to kind of do is just go through the steps I showed you already. So we're going to detab the little pegs there on the bottom. We'll do it on this side as well. And so easily, again, we just kind of remove the figure off the top. You guys want to see? Hold on. We'll just put him down here for a second. I want to show you guys really what the bicycle looks like on its own. So a nice weathering they've added to the tops of the seat. Yeah, I think they've really done a nice job on the tricycle. And really, with Billy not on it, the tricycle rolls so easily on its own. As for Billy itself, so how they've designed this figure where the top half of his body kind of is more the articulated style that we're used to seeing with their 6-scale figure releases. Down below, again, because he has to have the means to pedal on his own, it means now that his bottoms of his ankles are going to be looser because they're sitting on ball joints, and his legs are basically on straight swivel hinges, or just regular hinges. So that you can see, like, really, he's a little looser down below. I can really understand why he's not meant to stand on his own. There's no real way that you'd be able to stand him, but I mean, who's really going to be displaying their Billy the Puppets without their tricycles? From a head sculpt standpoint, the sculpting has been done by Alexander Ray and Andy Maniloff. And boy, oh boy, I think they've done a really nice job on Billy here. The chalk white, you got the spirals of the red on the side, the big ruby red lips, and of course his dark, piercing red eyes. I don't think they could have done a much better job. Looking, though, at his mouth, the way they've actually got the sides cut in like this, for a second, though, I thought the mouth would be able to open and close. And that would be one thing. I wish, though, that Billy could have actually had an opening, closing mouth. If it meant even like the figure was going to be another $10 or $15 more, I would have been well happy to pay that extra $1 just to ensure that the mouth would have actually opened and closed. Maybe down the road, we may actually get another version of Billy the Puppet of this size, of this scale, with a mouth that actually could open and close. But short of that, there's nothing at all I would have really changed to the face. Really nice work there. The hair is also something I was quite impressed by with the way they've rooted it. It's a good quality of faux hair. And like even just to move it away here, there's no bald patches at all. They've really rooted it good on the back of his body. Maybe I probably could have gone in there with some hairspray. I might just do that afterwards, or even wet the hair just a bit so I can have the hair more flat down. Getting him out of the packaging, obviously the hair was a little bit more busier. For his actual outfit, though, he has his tuxedo, so it's a two-piece, essentially, I guess a three-piece considering really his pants, too. If you move the jacket away, he's got his vest, he's got a shirt underneath, a nice big red bow tie, and a matching red handkerchief on the side. They've done a really nice job on this. I don't know if Tonello's been responsible at all for the tailoring here for Billy, but like on the interior of his jacket, it looks just as good as it does on the outside. There's no loose threads. There's no overlapping of fabric. Sometimes that's what 6-scale companies tend to do. They kind of not finish the inside as well, just because that's not the part you're going to be seeing. But you can see, like, boy, they've done just as nice of a job on the inside as they've done on the out. It doesn't look like, I mean, you can un-Velcro this, obviously. I don't know how far I would want to start to strip down Billy here. I mean, clearly it looks like he's got himself like a fully finished shirt. I guess it is a good idea that they gave him a Velcro for the vest, but I would never really see myself a need to undo that. Got himself, of course, the white gloves. The white gloves are using more the softer plastic, and probably why they went this route would be a little bit easier just to fit around the handles. Again, he's got some full range of articulation, at least from like this part up. Down below, of course, he's got his legs, and they have used a thinner material, though, for the pants, probably just to add a little bit more mobility when it comes to the movement in his legs. If we move up the legs here, you can see it's just a straight hinge, so there's a pin hinge going right through there. So he's going to have just simple articulation down below, and then a very loose ball joint down below here. So you can probably already see why he's never intended to be standing on his own. Plus, too, it seems like his legs are permanently in a bend position like this. To stand him on his own would be next to impossible. Now, for the figure's articulation, going back to, once again, a stellar-looking sculpt for Billy. Head's going to be on not only a ball joint back and forth this way, but I have reason to believe that there's probably a ball joint at the base of the neck, too, because it seems like he also can move. And when I'm moving it, I don't feel like it's moving here. I feel like it's moving down here. Yeah, also can rock back and forth as well. Now for his arms, full control over there as well. So like if you have a standard 6-scale figure from Trick or Treat Studios, about the same here for Billy too. Forward and back motion on the legs, on the arms, the single hinges only in the elbows, and the hands rotate all the way around. It doesn't seem though like he has any postability in the waist, but again, based on the way he's going to be designed and displayed on the shelf, why would he really even need any articulation here for the waist? The legs again move forward and back. There's a hinge there in the knee, and again there's that ball joint with his ruby red slippers. This guy, I don't think is going back to Kansas anytime soon, but again, like, all of this is constructed in specifically a way so that Billy can actually pedal his tricycle. Really, really cool. To get this guy back onto his tricycle, again, the first thing I find is probably the easiest is get his feet first attached onto the pegs. So there's the pedal again with the peg. Just plug it onto the bottoms of his soles. You're going to kind of move things around a little bit for a bit until you get the first foot attached. Once the first foot's on there, then you're going to have a much easier time getting the second foot on there. Again, we're just going to line everything up here. Plug his feet on the bottom there. And then once that's all in place, get Billy to sit. Get his hands, though, around the handles of the tricycle. Just get his arm bent. I'll make sure I've got the arm bent. I had it bend around the other way there. Bring around the hands, bring around the handles. And then Billy the Puppet's ready to be sitting back down on his tricycle. You may have to kind of go in there and also just adjust the hands again. But you know what, though? Like, I really like this figure a lot. You know, again, for this figure not being intended at all to ever stand, certain characters, I mean, I don't think you can really get away with that. But Billy the Puppet also really has he's always really kind of been known for wheeling into a room, kind of surprising, really, all the people that have kind of been shackled or imprisoned in there. I mean, Billy doesn't really need to have the means to stand on his own. I guess, really, you could take him off the trike if you want to just have him sitting down somewhere. But sitting down, kind of, again, is going to be the constant thing that you're going to be noticing with the figure. He's sculpted incredibly, though. I think they've done such a nice job on the head sculpt. Truth, though, be told, I would have really liked if the mouth could have opened and closed. But the figure, though, is selling for $79.99, so he probably would have maybe been more close to a $90 figure. I would have honestly been willing to spend that price if it meant, though, the figure could have an open and closed mouth. But I think both that Alexander Ray and Andy Maniloff have done, a really good job on Billy the Puppet. He looks the part. He fits the part. And again, the fact he does also have the means that if you turn his tricycle, he can actually rotate his legs around. While you're doing those, sometimes though, you may notice that the hands are going to detach from the handles of the tricycle. But again, like, they're just so easy to put back in place. Billy the Puppet, though, if you're looking for one that's going to be of the same size and that same scale as your other 6 scale figures, because keeping in mind, this guy can't be a full-size figure. If you even, again, just to bring in like Sam right now, yeah, I think like Billy the Pup is the perfect size and candidate for your shelf and collection space. If you're a big fan of Saw, you're a big fan of Billy, and want to get a figure that fits in well with the other 6 scale figures you currently have. Yeah, again, this is an advanced early look at the Saw franchise's Billy the Puppet with Tricycle. The figure is going to start leaving Trick or Treat Studios warehouse starting May 1st, 2025 for all those that had ordered him by that time. So you get at least a chance to mark this guy down on your calendar. You may also want to mark on your calendar space, too, that he's going to be selling for $79.99, which I think is a good price. Or you can also go as well the route of 4 interest-free installments of $20. The thing, though, I like about him is even though we don't have a John Kramer yet, he is at least of the proper size that if you put him next to a Sam or a Michael Myers or whoever else you've already ordered from Trick or Treat Studios, he doesn't feel out of place, out of size. Even though he doesn't stand, though, on his own, he comes included, of course, with his trusty trike. Both Billy and the trike are down to the finest details, even the little bell. Ding, ding! One thing I do really like, though, is that they've also designed his legs specifically that once you properly attach them onto the pedals, if you rotate the wheel, as you saw in this review, he actually can pedal his bicycle, which I think is really a nice touch. It does mean, though, that unfortunately Billy, again, can't stand on his own, so you either have the route of either displaying him on top of his tricycle, or, again, you could probably even have him sitting down on something. He still manages to fully retain articulation in the top half of his body. He doesn't have it, though, in his torso. He certainly, though, has it in his arms, his elbows, and his wrists. I think, again, like Alexander Ray and Andy Maniloff have done a really nice job on the sculpting of the head sculpt. The tailoring on his outfit is really good, too. Nicely rooted hair. Yeah, Billy the Puppet's a nice find if you're able to add this one to your collection. A big, big thank you again to the folks over at Trick or Treat Studios that allowed the chance that me have an early look at this guy out to you guys. What do you guys think of the figure? Let me know down below in the comments section. One to pick up, one to pass. Also, let me know down below what your favorite Saw film is. If you guys did enjoy this video, you can do it a Saw and throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more Saw? I hope so. Hit that subscribe, turn on that bell, and of course, come back. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.